Okay, so perfume. Do you think perfume are too expensive? Perfumes. Sorry.
I don't think so because there are all kinds of perfumes, right? Some of them are even homemade.
What kind of perfume do you like to wear?
I actually rarely wear perfumes because I think the scent can be too strong for me, but I do own some perfumes sometimes just because the packaging. I remember owning this perfume which was called Lola. It's by Marc Jacobs. I think that's something I would just collect. I don't have to use it, but I would feel happy just, owning it. So I guess my answer is if I have to wear perfume, I would choose something that does not have a strong artificial fragrance because it can be somewhat revolting. Just my personal opinion. Okay. Next one, please.
How often do you wear perfume?
Like I said, I seldom wear perfume, but I do like using, shampoos or shower gel that smell, pretty good.
What impression does a person's handwriting have on other people?
I, for one, have the worst handwriting because I sometimes worry that when I'm taking IELTS test, writing test, you have to write. And I sometimes worry that my, awful handwriting is going to get me some disadvantage when it comes to grading. So I guess people can be judgmental when they see your handwriting because if they see some really ugly and untidy handwriting, they may think you're an untidy person, but that is not necessarily true. Although I really don't like tidying up my room. There are many styles of handwriting. For example, there's more complicated and fancy and classical style, and there's also like childish and simple style. It does reflect a person's characteristics in a way. So I guess it will lead people to jump to some conclusions about a certain person, which is kind of a stereotype.
How can children today improve or practice their handwriting?
For example, you can practice your handwriting using fountain pens. You can improve your handwriting even using chalk. So there are a lot of options. But I guess because I have a son, as you know, I guess for me, I would probably not enroll my son for those classes because in comparison, I would maybe put more focus on sports or just I don't know, music, something like that, because it's a digital era. I think the time when we have to handwrite is like dwindling. So I guess it's just something I wouldn't do, but it does help you calm down, that's for sure. When you practice handwriting, you have to focus. It's really good for concentration. I guess there are also a lot of online courses, so maybe as an alternative, you can enroll in one of the online courses and you can practice at home. That's something I would probably do or encourage my son to do.
Is your handwriting easy to read for others?
You mean easy to recognize? I guess yes. My rule number one for a good handwriting is that it has to be reader friendly. I mean, people often make jokes about the prescription notes written by doctors because no one seems to be able to understand them. I think that's okay because doctors, as long as doctors can understand, right? For example, if you're a doctor and you write this prescription note and then other doctors cannot understand it, that can lead to really severe consequences. So you don't have to really write beautiful notes. You don't have to pay so much attention to the appearance, but you have to make yourself understood.
Do you think computers might one day replace handwriting?
I wouldn't say anything would replace something else 100%, but sure, it's going to be more and more dominant. I mean, computer and other digital devices are really prevailing, and I don't think that's something problematic because I guess it's more environmentally friendly because with handwriting you have to cut a lot of trees to make paper, right?
How do you feel when people don't return things they borrowed from you?
I feel angry. I do. Maybe you will think that's miserly, but to be honest with you, it's really not about the money. It's about the trust, and I don't want you to think I'm some gullible person that you can borrow from me and then don't mention about it. And it's not something I would do, and I definitely don't expect my friends to do that if you regard me as one of your true friends. But if you are struggling financially, you really don't have money to pay for it, it's okay. It's definitely okay. You can just ask. I will probably even, just give the money to you. But if you promise to pay me back and you have the money to travel, I think it's just like I'm betrayed. Like, I don't know how to put it. Maybe you're saying I'm being dramatic, but that's something I genuinely wouldn't do to my friends. Okay, next one, please.
Do you think you borrow or lend things more?
I don't often borrow nor lend because it can cause trouble. They say that you cannot lend your boyfriend or girlfriend or your car to others. And I think there is some truth to that because if you lend something you really care about to others, if they don't cherish it or they, accidentally do something wrong about it, you will just feel maybe vexed, and that will cause a problem in your relationship. And for the same reason, I rarely borrow from others because I don't want to put my friends who are willing to borrow me things in an awkward situation where they think they kind of feel obliged to lend me things, and I just don't want to do that to them. And if they refuse me, I would also feel somewhat heartbroken. And my husband sometimes says that if you lend money to somebody, you have to be prepared that they do not return it to you. So I guess this just teaches us that do not lend things that you deeply care about to others. You have to be able to afford the loss. So, yeah. For example, you are not so financially afloat, then don't lend money to others. For example, you have this blanket which your grandma made for you, just don't lend it to others, no matter how cold he or she is. Yes, that's as long as he or she is not going to die of coldness, right? So I guess that's how harsh I am.
Do you think it is difficult to borrow money from others?
Borrow money from others? I think it's not so difficult for me because I have some rich friends. Just kidding. I think it's not so difficult because I also lend money to my friends, so they would return the favor because my friends are decent people, or I wouldn't be friends with them in the first place. But it also depends on how much you want to borrow and if you treated your friends well in the past. For example, you borrowed from once, then you didn't return the money, then the next time you borrow, they may probably lend you the money again, but when it's a third time, right, nobody would fall for that.
How often do others borrow stuff from you?
I wouldn't say often because I'm not the kind of person who some people would think that it's okay to borrow from me all the time. I actually have a lot of boundaries in my friendships and my personal life, So everybody around me would know that's how I deal with my personal relationships. But they also, I think they know that if they are in need, I would help them if I think it's worth it. I'm not so concerned about my personal gain and loss when it comes to people that I really love. But it only applies to people that I really care about. If you're not someone I deeply care about, just I think they would know better than to try, because it's gonna be embarrassing for both sides, right?
Yeah. Have you ever learned stuff from others?
Of course. I guess I have done that, but I can't really remember when and why and what. No, I really can't remember because it's been a long time. But I do remember that when I was in middle school, I sometimes exchange clothes with my besties. That's quite a silly thing to do, but we really enjoyed it because we were in a boarding school and you have to take, you only get to go home and exchange your, change your wardrobe for the next week once a week. So sometimes we just, girls, they want to wear something new every day, but it's kind of hard to do. Hey. Yeah.
Smile. Can you tell when someone faked a smile?
I didn't pay much attention to that up to now. I guess I can, because when someone smiles from the bottom of their heart, their eyes will spark joy. But if they're faking a smile, you would think that there's something wrong with that smile. It's just it gives you goosebumps. I guess I can be sometimes not so sensitive, so I'm not sure about this question. Next one, please.
Do you smile when others take photo of you? Why or why not?
No, I hate when other people take photos of me without my permission. I don't know since when there are like really weird people in the streets. They just take photos of girls without permission. And some girls may feel honored, but I always feel offended. I think that's something stupid. And I would even yell at them. I would say something like, "Stop that. Who gave you the right?" So, also, this is quite a general question again, right? This someone can be my family. For example, if my mom wants to take a photo of me when we're enjoying a spring festival, I would smile. I would be really happy. But for example, this someone can be a passersby, a nobody that I don't know from anywhere, and then he or she just to try to take a photo of me for even vicious reasons. For example, I fell or I wore something ridiculous, I would be angry, and there's no reason why I should smile at those people. Next one, please.
When do people smile to others?
Because they want to be courteous. They want others to think they are kind and they're in a good mood. There are also a bunch of other scenarios when people want to smile. For example, they're being sarcastic. They can have this really weird, even spooky smile when they see something they hate, make mistakes, or hit rock bottom, right? Like, yeah.
How often do you smile?
When I was a teenager, I didn't have any facial expressions. Really, it was just because I was a shy person, and I guess I was immersed in my own world. I didn't think a lot about what other people would react to my facial expressions and things like that. But thankfully, I am starting to realize that now, and I definitely smile more.
Do you prefer to read ebooks or prefer books?
Paper books? I like ebooks better because I have these fragile eyes. They get sometimes really dry and sensitive and uncomfortable if I read too much. So with ebooks, you can download these apps and they can help you read things out loud. That's really smart, and it can save me the trouble of using my eyes. So, and one biggest advantage about that is if you have insomnia, you can listen to these books and you can probably fall asleep really quickly. I understand people who love paper books because you can hold them in your hand, you can feel even thrill when turning the pages, you can see where you are, you have the sense of accomplishment when you see that you have done half of the book or 3/4 of the book, and the whole book can be collected in your study room for like decades. And sometimes the author would even sign some books. That's really special. So I guess if it's some book that I'm not crazy about, I would choose an ebook. If I really like this author or book, I would buy a paper book. Next one, please.
Do you read books related to what you study?
Yes, of course. For example, because I teach English, I sometimes read books about English grammars or English, the traits of the English language from a linguistic point of view. I read books about pedagogies and educational psychology. I guess I enjoy them as well, or else I wouldn't read them because no one will force me to do so now that I have graduated for over 5 years. So I guess I'm just lucky to be doing something that I like. It's a shame that I read not so much in recent years, maybe because there are so many shows for me to watch and I've been pretty occupied with my family and work, but I plan to finish one book a week next year. I'm really looking forward to that phase of my life because reading a good book is like getting the chance to talk to a really brilliant person. It's really fun.
How has the transport system in your hometown changed in the past few decades?
It's definitely getting more congested than ever, but also it's more convenient because of the construction of metro system, and the regulation of traffic is improving. We cannot ignore that, and I would say it's improving gradually. So let's call it a day, and I will probably practice with you tomorrow. Thank you for watching.